Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We're in the heart of Manhattan at the Tisch WNET studio, and it's my honor, my pleasure to welcome Jack Mitchell, who is the chairman of Mitchell's Family of Stores and author of a terrific book called Hug Your Customers. Jack was with us a while back, and this is the revised edition of
Revised and updated, Steve. Yes, I'm thrilled to be here. Just thrilled.
It's great to have you back. By the way, should we let everyone know, Jack, do the close-up again of what Jack has around his neck.
Well, this is my tape, Steve. I wear this tape when I do interviews and when I'm on the selling floor at our 5 stores in Connecticut, Long Island, and California. It sort of symbolizes that, you know, I'm a real person, and they start talking. It's a good way to get people talking. And it also symbolizes that we, in our family business, I say this in my book, Hug Your Customers, we measure everything. So it's not only about hugging and being close to the customers, one-on-one, as you
right.
say here, but it's also about how we measure the results and how we track and measure every single thing that we do. So that's my tape.
It's interesting. You're in it's clothing, business is clothing, but you've often argued, and you and I have talked about this a lot offline as well, that hugging, the concept of hugging, takes place in any industry.
Yes, and everywhere. And anyone who has customers, I think you can, and a hug obviously is a metaphor, but it can be a bear hug, but it's any little act or a major act or deed that says, wow, these folks in this business, whether they're selling coffee or peanuts or whatever, they really care about me as a real person. And when that happens, that human connection, that's what we're all about in our stores. And that's how we've grown, one customer at a time, turning them into friends, then they become loyal. They trust us, we trust them. They become loyal customers for life.
Jack, I should say how did we lose that, but how did so many lose that? Because you've said to our producers, and I know that it bothers you when you come across those in a business, a service industry, who just, they're not only not hugging, they're almost saying, get away from me.
Exactly. Well, I mean, a perfect example, I tell stories, as you know, in my book.
Right. A
perfect example is how many times have you and all the people that will be watching this, you go to a store or you go anywhere that's closing, right? And it's 6:15 and they're waving to you closed, or in the morning you want to get in for a cup of coffee. Well, 8 o'clock we open. Well, store the other day, my nephew in San Francisco, our store Wilkes Bashford, he was telling me the story at 6:30 and he was closing up and this man's knocking on the door. He's had a beautiful young lady with him. Anyway, he opens the door, of course, and they had just flown in from China, and she was freezing cold. He said, I've got to get her something. So he threw a shawl on, a Loro Piana. I wouldn't even tell you how expensive it was, a very nice one. He said, I love it, I'll take it, just like that. And then he left a little while ago. We got his name and address and everything. 3 weeks to a month later, my nephew said, tell her he was back in. He didn't see him initially come in. And she was buying a lot of clothes. And of course, and she bought another shawl. Well, it was the styler said, why another one? He said, well, the first one was so nice and luxurious, somebody stole it. And so he came back, but he came back, Steve, you know why? Because we opened the door, and other stores that he had gone to trying to have that happen said, no, come back tomorrow.
It's so interesting.
Isn't it the right thing to do?
Jack's talking about being there for people, and I just realized I mistakenly did something. We're here in our studio, and I brought out my iPhone for another reason, and I left it on. And one of the things I just put it on mute, because one of the ways we don't hug our customers and the people around us is by not being present.
To me, that's the most...
Technology. Has it made it harder to hug?
No, it's make it easier to hug.
How?
Because we then can record and communicate with a new type of technology. I still say the phone is the most important way to contact your customer because it's an interactive, even better than texting. But some, as you well know, some people can't put their phones down. So if that's the way they want to communicate, that a new tie or a new shirt or something is happening, an event, a charity event that we're doing, you can do it that way. So, and then of course we have, as I say in my book, a lot's happened since my first book was published in 2003. A lot has happened, including we are now on the internet, which we weren't before, just a bricks and mortar channel distribution, real store. But we're trying to, and I'd love everybody to try to get online. It's Mitchells.com, or you can get on and you can see we're trying to replicate the shopping experience. If you have a sales associate that you work with, up pops his or her face and says,
online?
Online.
You can hug online in that way?
We're trying our very best. It says, Rita Roma is your associate. She knows what you like, and since we know every single sale to every single customer by SKU, stock keeping unit, since 1989, that the new online is integrated and connects to what you've been purchasing since then. So you can literally see every purchase that you've made with us in any one of our 5 stores. Also, you can see online, let's say you have a pair of, I don't know, Todd shoes, and we don't have 12Ds in Connecticut, we might have them in San Francisco. So you can buy them there, or you can say, please send them in to Richard's, our store in Greenwich, Connecticut, because I'm coming in Saturday and I want to try them on.
The other thing that's changed since the first book was out is 2008.
Yes.
And these horrible economic times. What impact?
It
A lot
was
harder to hug?
Yes, it was.
Were you hugging during that time?
You bet we were.
How so?
How so? Well, first of all, we just kept contacting and talking to our customers. We said, come on in for a cup of coffee, come in for cappuccino, or come in for a bagel or whatever. Just come on in. And some did and some didn't. We hugged our people even more. We had to make some cutbacks, which were very difficult to do because our business went down, I say in my book, 30+%. And when that happens, so we made those adjustments. We all sacrificed together. We all took some pay cuts, and we got.
Because you're also the other book, Hug Your People. You got to hug your people while you're doing that.
It's most important because if we hug our people, then they hug the customers. So we stayed in contact with these customers, and the major objective was to try to make sure they didn't shop somewhere else. And most of them didn't. Most of them came back as the economy came back, and our customers. We are in the upper end luxury field. I mean, we sell, quality.
High end.
We're high end, and so our customers still, thank goodness, didn't lose all their money, but they were very prudent, and they just didn't buy as much. And then all of a sudden, our growth has come though through acquisition. So by the fall of '09, a year later, we saw this opportunity to buy these stores in California, Wilkes-Bashford, and we bought them out of bankruptcy. We flew to California, and they were the preeminent stores, but they didn't understand that cash was king. And remember, I have my 3 C's in my book.
That's right.
Customers, community, we're very much part of the community. And we kept doing that during this terrible recession. And then cash. We believe cash is king.
One more quick question.
Sure.
I talk to you about leadership all the time. I'm going to ask you right now, number 1 leadership lesson you learned in all this is?
To me, the leader has to be there. You've got to be, in my case, on the selling floor, in the stores, or in Milan with the buying team so that you buy the right merchandise at the right time. You've got to be there 24/7. It's just a mentality of always being with your people all the time and being present and being positive and proactive. That's what that has been for me and for our family.
You've lost none of your passion. You're more passionate and...
Passion is the other P, of course.
Yeah, well, I learn every time you come on. And thank you for doing what you're doing and teaching the rest of us. Thanks, buddy. Stay right there.
Thank you very much, Steve.
All right.
Thank you.
You keep hugging. Stay with us. We'll be right back, hugging folks right here in Lincoln Center.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One on One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Investors Bank, Berkeley College, Virtua, Qualcare Inc., New Jersey Sharing Network, Kessler Foundation, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.